Grab your favorite alcoholic or non-alcoholic beverage, drink responsibly, do not drink and drive, and join us for the latest episode of Why Complain When You Can Whine. Everything in this podcast is purely for entertainment and psychoeducational purposes only. Welcome to Why Complain When You Can Whine, making sense of the senseless. Join us as we attempt to make sense of toxic nonsense while drinking wine or any other alcoholic beverage or non-alcoholic of your choice. I am Dr. Jodi Lorman, licensed clinical psychologist, and tonight I am not drinking wine. I'm drinking, I don't know if you'd call it comfort drink. What we're going to talk
Isn't
about.
it all comfort?
Yes. I am drinking my iced cafe Busquero
Oh,
with
Bailey's.
my Bailey's. So, and my cup.
Okay,
My
go
mug.
back to the drink. Wait a second. What is that? No, I know that. What did you say before?
Oh, Cafe Busquero. It's coffee. I've shown it a couple of times, so I didn't
Oh,
bring it with me this time, but it is a Mexican coffee. This
ooh.
one comes in a K cup and it's leche, con leche flavor.
Oh,
So, and of course I add my Bailey's. And my cup says, I'm not here to impress you, but I probably will anyways.
oh my gosh, you're so funny. That's
So,
amazing. Well, on that note, I am joining Dr. Lehman, and my name is Brianne Bury, and I'm a licensed clinical counselor up in Vancouver, BC, Canada. And I like how it's about making sense of the toxic nonsense. And we've got some really good toxic nonsense because I think around the world, the biggest question is the toxic nonsense of the US. And I'm drinking rum. 'Tis the season. Yes, that's not real snow on my windows. It's not that cold in Vancouver yet. It is for my children and strictly entertainment purposes only. At early Christmas over here because my children are ridiculous.
Is
They
it
love
spray on?
it's it's spray on snow. And then my nativity scene, and I got my tree up in the other corner. But
I
I'm
do.
drinking rum, and I don't have a cool mug. But if I did, it would be I would throat punch a bitch for you for my friends. So it was a really cool thing, and I'm like, I want to get that mug for my bestie. I would throat punch, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because I thought that would be a really good one, right?
Cheers.
Cheers. It's been a while.
And yes,
Yes,
it has.
yes.
It has been a while, and like so much has happened
Yeah, it
that
has.
is toxic nonsense that we are trying,
Political toxic
as
nonsense.
as well as probably the majority of the world
And
and
it is.
half of the population of
It,
the United States trying to figure the fuck out
yes. Okay.
of this toxic.
So again, Democrats are very much progressive with the rest of the world. So what we're going to talk about is obviously the post-US election and the clusterfuck of what's going on in the world. Now, as a Canadian, no American here, like nothing, like born and bred Victoria, BC, Canada, but obviously being 3 hours from the US border, travel to the States all the time, have many friends in the States, many colleagues in the States, family members that live down in the States. Um, I was watching the US election, as was everybody in the world, because your election has such a huge impact on the rest of the world. Okay. So it's not just the Americans that it's affecting, it affects everyone around the world. And I saw a really good quote, and that was it's like waiting for a biopsy to return. As the world waits for a biopsy to return.
And see, in the United States, that biopsy has returned and it's cancerous. And
Oh,
we
yeah,
just
it's
want to
malignant.
see if it is going to
But
kill us
yeah.
or not. If we
So,
could go through 4 years of treatment and
yes.
survive, or if it's
Yes.
going to kill us in the second.
And it's scary because like again, the Democrats in the US are like the progressive part of the rest of the world and knowing right from wrong. And I thought humanity would win because again, being progressive, but unfortunately, no. And as I watched the election with my friend drinking, and we're like, my girlfriend's husband, who's smart guy, looks up and he's like, you want to know what the top Google search is right now? Oh, Biden isn't running? That was the top Google search. I kid you not. In that moment, watching the election, because her husband, Gary, who is a big finance guy, an economist, a fucking, like, he's just brilliant beyond words. Like, the guy's so incredibly bright. And he just said, here's the top Google search right now. Oh, Biden isn't running. What?
You know what it became after the election? And I kid you not, because a client of mine told me. So I looked it up myself just to make sure, because that is what I do. I don't take things at face value. I don't care how reliable you as a person are. I find out if you're reliable by also researching it myself.
Yeah. Yeah,
And so
100%.
I looked up, because she told me the Google search right after the election was, how can I change my vote?
Yes. How can I change my vote? Yeah.
And in Texas, there was a Google search of Trump supporters asking, how do I change my vote from Trump specifically?
Yes. And I have a client who lives in Florida and he is American. And he said it was so messed up the next day. And being in Naples, and he's surrounded by obviously right-wing Republicans, said that I voted for Trump, but I didn't want him to win. What? So again, why would you vote for him? It makes absolutely no sense.
Are you
It's again
serious?
trying to make sense of the nonsense. Like, what the fuck? So as we watch the election and Trump won popular vote, and I've learned a lot about the Electoral College, our politics are very different than American politics, right? So I actually listened to a Canadian history teacher explain the Electoral College better in 5 minutes than I've heard any American explain it. And all the Americans on her feed said the same thing. They're like, I just learned more from you and now actually understand what the Electoral College is. And I've never learned this from any history teacher in the US ever, and I'm American. How is it that a Canadian knows like,
The Electoral
and
College is fucking bullshit.
well,
We
it's so again,
hate it.
Constitution,
We
no,
hate it.
17, what was it? What was the date? 17 something,
76.
76, when the Constitution came in again, and the blacks weren't allowed to vote, slaves weren't allowed to vote, but they were counted within the Electoral College. How is that relevant today? And they've tried to do away with it. It's never going to work. It makes no sense. But how did Trump win popular vote? Again, the brashness. And then secondly, saying, you don't even need to vote for me. We're going to win. How would you know that? And then
And he's got a little
screaming,
secret.
oh, it's rigged. It's rigged, until he knew he was winning.
See, you can see this. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to see. It says some Trump supporters want to do over what Texas law says you can or cannot do with a ballot. And
Right.
that was in the Star Telegram of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? There are a couple things, my theories, and I've heard, from listening, watching, reading, all of this. It's not just me. One is the Gen Z guys, males, when I talk about Gen Z, 18 to 26, in 2020 were progressive, rah rah, let's go, let's vote him out. But now they're like, wait a minute, we're oppressed males. And so they went the
Yeah.
misogyny, because the highest voters for Trump
Mhm.
were 18 to 26 males,
Of
white
course,
male.
uneducated,
Yeah.
emotionally immature,
And
intellectually immature.
82% of white Christian evangelical women.
Yep. So this is and this is going to sound harsh, okay? And again, Jodi and I study and work in mental health and know pathology and thinking and behavior, human behavior. That's our forte. Any woman who voted for Trump, and there is going to be a lot of backlash for this comment, and I know we're going to get back, and this is okay. Everybody gets to share their opinion, but any woman who voted for Trump has zero self-respect.
Yeah.
You are choosing policy over respect for yourself as a woman. You came from a woman. If you were a mother, you've had a baby. You have no self-respect at all, and you were ignorant beyond recognition. So I did a video after this because I was fuming about Nick Fuentes and some of these fucking outright white supremacists. Like, okay, freedom of speech, it should be illegal with the shit that he is saying and the hate he
Well,
is spewing. We are going
hate
back in
speech is
time. This
supposed
is
to not fall under
dictatorship,
free speech, but
right?
it
Control
doesn't anymore.
my body, or sorry, your
Your
body,
body,
my
my
choice.
choice. Yep.
And I saw this and I'm like, this can't be real. This is satire. This can't
And
be.
that
No,
guy
it's
is about either he's 26 or 28. I can't remember. But
I
he's
don't know,
26 or
but
28.
he's a
He's
buddy of
right
Trump's
there.
and he just loves it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. His hatred for women is so severe. Where did his mama go wrong? Because he's got mama fucking issues up the ass. Apparently he used to shit himself in school. Funny story. Getting off topic. this started, obviously, women getting heated. And then there's this 4B movement. And then I did a little bit of research, started in South Korea back in 2016. Again, women wanting to having more autonomy. But women are attracted to intellectual maturity and emotional maturity. No woman is attracted to that trash fucking fuck bag.
Well, you know what else? Because I did a video too where I just took 5, I think, screenshots of tweets that people did. And one of them was your body, my choice. The other one was some girl had tweeted like, okay, we're all gonna go get our IUDs renewed or whatever, reimplanted. And some guy wrote something to the effect of, oh, that's okay, we'll just rape you past the IUD.
Again, that's criminal. How are you not getting arrested for that? Because that's again a violation of this is so disturbing. And I had one ignorant woman again, and this is where I'm just like, and I was pretty blunt in my video because again, I'm heated, and men are just, oh, you fucking feminist, and the only men that have problem with feminism are these jackasses. They're threatened by women. The hatred for
Yeah.
women, misogyny is born out of mother wounds because
Okay.
mom is meshed in major fucking, bad upbringing and issues with mom. But you act like that, any mature woman that has half a fucking brain won't want to come near you with a 10-foot pole. So you guys are doing yourself a disfavor. If you're actually falling, are you jumping on the bandwagon with this bullshit? Again, I said the US women are drying up tonight like a corn husk because they are not going to tolerate. It's going to be no sex, no relationships, no babies. And that's the 4B movement. That's what it was all about. And I just said, again, anybody voting for Trump, you're dumber than fucking dirt.
Well, how many of these people, and I'm seeing it, oh my God, because I live in California. Thank God I live in California.
Mm-hmm.
Our Governor Newsom, everybody wants him to run for president. Plus, he's cute. His ex-wife is Donald Trump Jr.'s girlfriend, the really nut job, Kelly Guilford or whatever. She's a whack job. But that's Trump, Newsom's ex-wife. And Trump hates Newsom with a passion and hates California. So Newsom has already geared up as soon as he found out. And California sued Trump 122 times his last term, and I think only lost twice. So they're gearing up. Our attorney general is already getting stuff ready to do it again. And Gavin Newsom has called special counsel and special meetings. Now Washington and Oregon and other blue states are kind of trying to get together. I don't know why we can't secede, to be honest. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, it's crazy. So, and then again, another thing that was trending was like, oh, tariffs, so we're going to make money. No, morons, do your homework. Do you even know what a fucking tariff is? No, you don't.
No.
This is the whole world. And I'm saying this again, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this, but the people and the majority of people that voted for Trump, you're a fraction of the rest of the world who thinks you are absolutely bonkers. And we're all sitting there going, how? How did this man get back in? He's a rapist. He's a misogynist. He's a fucking felon. The list goes on. Yet you vote because you think and you believe him. You were brainwashed. None of you even know what a tariff is. Apparently, in Pennsylvania, heavy Trump supporters over there, first company after the election where they went to their employees and said, you're not going to get your Christmas bonus this year. And they're like, why not?
God.
Because of the tariffs Trump's going to bring in, we can't now afford it because it costs us money. What do you mean? I thought we made money off the tariffs.
And we're not going to pay
No.
taxes once we have tariffs.
Yes, you're going
Trust
to be
me.
paying $4,000 more a year on average household in taxes.
Yes, taxes on top of the tariffs. They think
And
that
yet you
there's going to
think
be
your
nothing.
taxes are going to be cut. No, the people that have the money, they're going to get the
You
tax
know who
cut.
they're going to
Trump is
blame now?
rich.
You know who they're going
What?
to blame? Biden.
Oh, of course they
They're
are.
going to blame Biden. I
Oh, of course they
guarantee
are.
to you. But this
Here's
is
the
the
deal.
mentality, okay? This is a headline from today, and this is the mentality of fucking Trump supporters. California farmers were big Trump backers. They may be on a collision course over immigrant deportation because the vast majority of California's produce
Mm-hmm.
is picked by immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
undocumented immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
And so the farmers, if they don't have their undocumented immigrants, the food rots. It doesn't get picked because no one wants those jobs. So the food rots, our prices go up because they can't get the stuff to market. But these farmers voted for Trump and then said, I got to find the quote in here, but basically it was, oh, we don't think he's going to come after our undocumented workers. He's going to go
Again,
after
you know what
criminals.
the saddest thing, Jodes, and we know this, that people will believe what they want to believe, and they
Yes.
will refuse to believe logic, and they will refuse to look at reality. They will distort their reality 9 ways to Sunday to believe what they fucking want to believe, and there's nothing anybody else can do, except, again, bozos who voted for Trump. You have now affected the entire fucking world. It's not
Yeah.
just your own fucking country.
Yeah.
And I'm swearing, I'm mad. We're mad. The world is mad.
Yeah.
You let in a dictator that is no different than fucking Hitler.
Today, Jack Smith, the special counsel that was suing him for taking the classified records home to his bathroom and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, where the judge kept ruling in Trump's favor on everything, and then she was stalling and stalling and stalling, and finally the election. So he ended up having today, he filed to drop the charges because you can't, he's a sitting president. He'll be a sitting president now since she did this on purpose to prolong it for the thing. So he's dropping the charges, which really pisses me off because sissy, weak ass Democrats, I guess, they're like, oh, can't fight him now. And I had someone literally say to me, oh, this just proves it was political.
You know what is crazy?
That they are only going to try him. All of these fucking charges that he has against him, all of these indictments, they're only political witch hunt. He didn't do anything.
Right. So this is what kills me. The more ridiculous and far-fetched this whole thing gets, the more that Trump is loved for it. Like it is my sitting back and watching this fucking circus act and who he's appointing as attorney general. Fucking oh my God. Like again, and Fox News dude, and now Dr.
And
Oz. And I'm
Dr.
thinking,
Oz, and I
you know what
swear,
this is?
if
Trump is turning this into a reality TV
yes,
show.
and if Dr.
He's
Phil
turned
gets,
the
if Dr.
US
Phil gets something,
political
I'm gonna
democracy into a fucking reality
yeah.
TV show. And you know what? All of the trash pandas and the white trailer trash of the US loves this shit. And the more that he does it, the more they jump on board.
Yeah.
It just, again, the whole world looks back and goes, we're living in the fucking Twilight Zone. This makes no sense.
I
How?
asked Bree, I asked, I at the prison in 2016, a lot of the officers were going to vote for Trump. And I asked them why, and they're like, they're going to take our guns. And the younger guys were like, they're not going to take your guns. And I'm like, dude, you're law enforcement. So they're not going to take your guns anyways. But they have been saying they're going to take our guns for the past 20 years, and their guns haven't been taken. So I'm sure these people voted again for Trump. Plus, I see them on Facebook and stuff. So I asked my law enforcement friends this question.
Mm-hmm.
There was two questions that I asked. One was, you're law enforcement. Please explain to me how you voted in an adjudicated sex offender with 34 felony counts against him.
Yeah.
Your law enforcement. No one answered.
Yeah. Are you corrupt
Enough.
cops? Because that's what makes you look corrupt, because it's okay. It's like you're justifying one's actions, and then all of a sudden you don't be like, again, all the interviews of people who are Trump voters, no offense, 90% of them can't even spell their last fucking name. And they're honestly, it's embarrassing to even watch. One guy's like, oh, well, you can't fight fire with water. You got to fight fire with fire. Really, dude?
As they're all decked out in their Trump stuff with their little panty
How
liners
are you
on their
still
ears.
alive? How have you not
Yes.
been hit by a fucking train? Is
How
what
do
I
they
wonder.
put their pants on in the morning?
It's painful, Jodes. It's painful. And I mean, to be part of, so in Canada, our province, that is, we call it the Texas of Canada, is Alberta. Okay. That's where all the redneck, dumber than fuck, uneducated,
Yeah, they have the Calgary Stampede, huh?
literally, well, Calgary Stampede's so much fun. Like, I love my Cowboys.
I know, but
if you
that's Calgary, Alberta, right?
it
So
is Calgary, Alberta, yeah. And Alberta is, again, they want to become part of the US, no one part of Canada, because they're all the conspiracy loving fucking 90% of them. And so we call it the Texas of Canada because they are so right winged. So right-winged. Now, I'm not saying, as a person who's progressive, I still think that some of the progressiveness is going too far.
I want to
Again,
talk
we need
about
to
that
find
too. I want
middle
to talk about
ground. We do.
that.
So I'm not disagreeing. So Jodi and I have talked before. Now, again, in Canada, we don't mix church and state. Again, our political system is so different. If I voted for conservative, okay, which up here we just call it conservative, we don't, it's not Republican, but we also have the NDP and we have the Liberals and we have the Green Party. So there's many to choose from. Now, the Green Party never gets standing, right? They get 2 seats in the House of Commons, right in the House, where this is where they do all their debates and all of their stuff. But then you've got, again, like you guys, you win the Senate, the House, the whatever, we have the same sort of system where it could be the NDP wins the Senate, but overall, but then we have a liberal government. And the Liberals get in. Now, we've had a Liberal leader for a long time, Justin Trudeau, dumber than fucking dirt, shouldn't be, doesn't know what he's doing, put our country in so much debt. He needs to go. He does need to go. Our only other option is Polyev. And he is everybody's like, oh, he's the Trump of Canada. You're worried about bodily autonomy. No, I'm not. Now, do I like either of them? No, I don't really like either of them. But again, Trudeau has fucked up so badly. He needs to go. But we never have to worry about abortion bans because that will never happen in Canada. People are like, don't say never. No, it will not. I know people in the medical system in the what it just can't happen because we don't mix church and state. We don't mix religion
We
with
did
politics.
in the past. That's what the
It
United
doesn't
States was founded, a
happen.
separation of church and
So
state.
again, now Polyev, is he a racist? No, he's not a fucking racist. Is he against women's rights? No, he's not against women's rights. He's not fucking Trump. I can tell you that much right now. So as a business owner and somebody that as I own my own business and I'm private and I don't work for a union, I am more of a conservative mindset, but with progressive and liberal beliefs.
Yeah.
So you and I, we think almost exactly the same way. BC is California all the way, very much blue. We are blue. I'm a blue mind, whatever. But again, Trudeau, he has no idea what he's doing. He's following in his dad's footsteps. It's like Bush and Bush, but Trudeau's dumb. He was a drama teacher. Again, anybody can just run and that he shouldn't. He's put the country in so much debt.
Well, I think, okay, another question that I asked my friends who I know have immigrant spouses, I know they do. I said, how can you vote for a guy who is so against immigration? And remember, the Haitians were legal. The Haitians that they discussed of eating the dogs and eating the cats,
His
they were
wife
all
is a
here
fucking
legal.
immigrant.
His wife, his in-laws, his ex-wife, his vice president's wife. Now, do they not see the motherfucking hypocrisy?
No,
I
they
am
don't because they're all
sorry.
narcissists. So
Yeah,
you want to talk about narcissism rising in the world? Okay, the US in particular, this with Trump, all
it's the
narcissistic
biggest.
pathology, all of them, because they are only seeing what they fucking want to see and they have zero self-awareness. Here's the second thing. Women are dying. And now again, because I have another business that's based in Utah, even though I'm Canadian, and of course, very much Republican state, and they're all 90% Mormon, so it's all about their faith and no abortion and not believing in that. Oh, no, no, they're not banning miscarriages. You're not getting it. I'm like, listen here.
People are dying.
Stop.
Women are
People are
dying.
dying. No. And they're all believing the conspiracy theorists. And I'm like, stop. Just stop. Stop, stop, stop. Women, because doctors don't know what the fuck to do because the lines are so gray.
And
As
they can
they're
spend the
not
rest of their
treating.
life in jail if
Yep.
they are found to
If
have.
they do, no, it's not against. Okay, a miscarriage. Again, if you're miscarrying, but there is still a fetal heartbeat, or they won't treat you, women are dying of sepsis.
I
So
just,
again, quote was, don't worry, you can go to the funeral because gas prices will be super fucking low because you voted
oh,
Republican.
our thing is the price of eggs. The price of eggs will go down because eggs became really expensive at one point when there was avian flu. So eggs got expensive. But guess what? They also found out, and there was a whole article that if these people were literate, they would know how to read it, that said, and you can Google it, the main supplier of eggs in the United States made record billions profit during the time that we were being overcharged because there were no eggs because of the avian flu.
Well, and here's the thing
It's
too.
corporate.
These people that are voting for Trump, they're all thinking it's not going to happen to me.
Mhm.
It's okay. My wife and my daughter and my niece and my mother, they're not going to die of a miscarriage. They'll get the right medical treatment. Right, right. It's not going to happen to me until it does happen to you. And so this is the again,
Yeah.
I wish you nothing but the best. I hope you get everything you fucking voted for, which means, and this is it's pretty harsh. Like again, we're very emotional. It is.
Mhm.
It's a very emotional thing because again, women have been oppressed and suppressed from the beginning of fucking time. And we've worked really hard about gaining equality. And I know again, all the emotional and intellectual, unintelligent, immature people out there are gonna be like, fucking when did you two hens get together and beak whatever? Of course. But again, not having rights, women not being able to vote for a long time, women being again and still are at the hands of abusive men. Vance saying stay in abusive marriage. Like
Yeah.
it's taken a really long time. Listen to Dr. Gabor Mate talk. And he's a Canadian doctor who lives in Vancouver, in the city I live in, who is world renowned because he was a Hungarian Jew that his mom gave up to. So he survived the Holocaust because he was living in Budapest and he has trauma from that. And he was an infant, but he talks about that trauma. He talks about all of this stuff, and he talks women are more prone to autoimmune diseases because of the suppression of natural emotions such as anger, because we weren't allowed to have it. And you wonder where feminism and masculine energy is born out of is shit like this. We're going back in time.
I have
And
been
it's
reading articles, a lot of
frustrating.
articles on women that have been dying because they've had miscarriages in Texas. There was like five recently where
Yeah, I
they
know.
had miscarriages,
I,
and instead of giving them a DNC,
yep.
they gave them malprostone or whatever the you take
Oh,
the
the
for abortion, but it's the
right.
first
It's
one.
the drug that expels the fetus
Yeah.
or helps. But here's
And they
the
said
science
that that doesn't
starting.
help in a
No,
miscarriage. They need
you
to do a
need
DNC,
a
but they're not
DNC.
doing DNCs because there's no fetal heartbeat and they can't tell how far along that pregnancy was. So was it
It
really,
has to be, what is it, before 12 weeks or they
yeah,
won't do
or
anything.
6 weeks
This
or
is
whatever?
bullshit. In
So
Canada, we will
people,
never have this
women
problem.
have died, they have bled out, they have hemorrhaged because they could not get a
And
DNC.
sepsis.
A
Okay, so let's
simple,
go
no, but
back.
they've literally, if you don't get a DNC, if you do the DNC, the uterus closes
The
and
cervix
you
closes.
stop. No, they said the
Yeah, no, the
uterus is
cervix
good,
closes. It's okay. So here, let's
but
go back in time. Just a little bit of a history lesson. Go back to the 16th century, 17th century, even 18th century, prior to modern day medicine, approaching the 20th century, women died of what they called childbed fever or purple fever. That means they died of sepsis, an infection, because doctors back in those days didn't know anything about germs and bacteria, and they were dealing with cadavers, dead bodies, different
men,
things, and that
male
men,
cadavers.
and
And they
then
still are working
going
on
and
male cadavers.
delivering babies.
Yeah.
That bacteria is being transferred to the woman, and then she dies of sepsis a week later. That's how Jane Seymour died, King Henry VIII's third wife. Okay, so common. Women are dying of the same fucking infection in 2024 since Roe v. Wade was passed and turned over. We are going back in time because what happens is when the cervix dilates, this is when all the bacteria can enter into the womb and you can get an infection and you will die. That teen mother, she died. She right around her baby shower. She baby died, complications, whatever it was. They would not give her they wouldn't deal with her. She died of an infection. I had this woman on my feed who was like, "Oh, she had a bladder infection. She had other things. That's what was really going on. She died of the infection due to her. She had a kidney infection." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up.
This
It is
is
not
this isn't
that."
even infection though, Bree. This is even worse than that because what they're saying is DNCs, a staple of maternal health care, can be life-saving. Doctors insert a straw-like tube into the uterus and gently suck out any remaining pregnancy tissue. Once the uterus is empty, it can close and usually the bleeding stops. But what's happening is they're not giving them a DNC. So they're bleeding out basically. They're bleeding to death and their
Well,
heart is
again,
stopping.
if there's a problem Because when you have a miscarriage, often you'll get a heavy period and it'll be done. But there is complications. It depends on where you are in that pregnancy.
Yep.
And if you're hemorrhaging, that's what bleeding out is because usually there's a placental abruption. So the placenta detaches, there's a massive artery, and if it's not fully detached, that artery can't stop. I can't, right? Like you bleed out. It's why when you have a baby, a placenta has to be removed in its entirety.
All the way.
Otherwise, if some of it is attained, you can hemorrhage to death because of that artery. So women bleeding out.
I just want to tell you one thing real quick. That is the one thing that I totally remember from my pregnancy. My doctor, he said normally they'll massage it out, but that can leave some placenta in. So my doctor's like, I'm going to take the placenta, and he rips the fucker out. I can still feel the pain. He's like, you might want to give your son to your sister right now because I'm going to take the placenta. And I'm like, oh no, I'll be fine. I like literally almost threw my son to him. It was like I could still feel that pain.
Oh, wow, that's crazy because in a perfect world, after the baby comes out, your uterus starts to contract and they wait for the placenta to come because it'll naturally detach. All they have to do is gently tug on the cord, the umbilical cord, and it'll pull the placenta. Now, if you're pulling too hard and it's not coming out, right? It means there's something wrong and you're contracting, but the placenta is retained. That's when you run into dangers of hemorrhaging and bleeding out. That needs to be removed. Doctors can get worried about that. Sometimes they'll remove it and then parts of it remains, which causes more hemorrhaging, but can also cause an infection. The whole idea is the baby comes out, the cervix closes, and sorry, I'm cold there. The cervix closes, and then no bacteria can get in. But no woman in today's day in medicine should ever, ever, ever be faced with this fucking absurdity of not being able to get medical treatment when complications arise. It doesn't matter what it is. So whether it's hemorrhaging because you're not getting a D&C stands for dilation and cuttillage, meaning that they dilate the cervix and they go in and they clean out the endometrium layer, which is the endometrial lining, which is the blood lining that is the blood and the support that helps a fetus survive. Now, in other news, just because of my background in science and university a bazillion years ago that I never forgot, a fetus is actually by medical definition considered a parasite in the body because can only survive with its host. And you as a mother are the host.
Yep.
So it's a parasite. Again, no religious person, even a mother of 3 children, do I want to see any of my children as being a parasite? But the medical definition of a fetus, this is why you have to have the right blood type. And if you don't, you have to get an injection so your body doesn't kill the baby. Because in the beginning of pregnancy, your immune system decreases. It's why you're susceptible to illness. Do you know why? So your body doesn't consider it a pathogen, a parasite, and dying. It's not a virus. It's not a bacteria. It's considered, your body doesn't recognize it anything other than a foreign pathogen or a parasite and therefore your immune system is suppressed. So your body does not reject the fetus. It's why you've got no immunity when
we talk about separation of church and state too, and people that are against abortion and stuff, it's the Christian religion. Because like in the Jewish religion, life begins at first breath.
Yep.
These abortion bans, because they say it begins at conception, life begins at conception. So it's not even when they talk about they want religion in the United States, they all want, it's the Christian, evangelical Christian.
I know, it's evangelical Christian. I know, it's absolutely, again, any other faith has more logic.
Yeah.
Than the people that are like, oh, God will take care of you. It doesn't matter if it's an ectopic pregnancy. Miracles happen every day. Hey, fucktard. No offense. But do you know what that means? It means it's not in the uterus. Your tube will rupture and the mother will bleed out and die. She will hemorrhage to death. You can't live and survive an ectopic pregnancy that is ruptured. The baby continues to grow in the tube ruptures, the mother bleeds out and dies. Oh, but God will take care of it. No.
Like no. In Texas, it says stigma and fear are there for D&Cs in a way they are not for misoprostol. In Houston, in Texas, doctors assume that a D&C is not standard in Texas anymore. Even in cases
Mhm.
where it should be recommended, they're afraid. They see DNCs as abortion, and abortion is illegal. So they won't do
Okay.
a DNC to save a mom's life when they're having a miscarriage because that could be considered an abortion. So
Again,
everybody is afraid.
no fucking logic. Do you know the medical term for a miscarriage? You know what it's called?
Spontaneous abortion.
Good, good. Yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Spontaneous abortion. It means that your body is
Ordered
spontaneously
it.
aborting the fetus because it's miscarrying, because it's not viable, because maybe there's a chromosomal mishap,
Yep.
something is wrong.
That
The
is why you have
hypocrisy,
a miscarriage. There is not a viable fetus. Your
no,
body's
there's
not going to
the
miscarry
hypocrisy
something that
is
is fine.
mind blowing. It's mind blowing. And a dear old acquaintance of ours from a couple years ago, we won't mention his name, was trying to explain when Roe v. Wade was overturned because I was chatting to me and I was so fucking angry and got heated up. And he's like, no, this is again, it's based on state, blah, 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 blah. It can't be overturned by a federal. I'm like, oh, I can't even have a conversation with half-wits that are just so, how can you choose policy over the life of a
Yep.
female family member in your life? You are choosing against your daughters, your mothers, your aunts, any
Yep.
female in your life. You are literally voting for. This is criminal. Do you know a doctor's oath is to save the life of a person?
And
How
do
the
no
fuck?
harm.
And
Do
do
no
no harm?
harm.
So they're choosing to not treat and allowing women to die? That goes against their medical oath. How is
And
it legal?
it's like that's again, I'm so glad I'm in California because we codified it into our constitution. So abortion will always be legal here. And here's the
It's like
thing.
Canada.
I'm pro-choice. I'm not
Mhm.
pro-abortion. I'm
No,
pro-choice.
pro-choice.
Me, I don't know. When I was pregnant with my son for a tiny single little half second, because I knew his dad did not want kids and we would not be together, and I had already lost my husband and I didn't know how I could raise a kid. For a tiny, teeny half second, I looked up abortion and then I went, what the fuck am I doing? No way I'm
Mhm.
not getting an abortion. But the
Mhm.
fact that I would had that option doesn't mean I'm going to take it. But why should I say what you can do? Why should
Well,
I
here's the thing.
be?
Are men getting vasectomies? Are they
Nope.
fucking making men get vasectomy? Well,
Nope.
no, that shouldn't happen. Again, the hypocrisy,
Why
the
not?
ignorance, the absolute, it's just dumbfounding how fucking stupid, how
And I had
stupid. And
someone
this is
say to
again from
me,
all my American
what
friends.
rights are you losing? Okay, first off, I am not going to have kids anymore. I can't, whatever. So that's not going to affect me. But that doesn't mean I don't care about everybody else. And just because I have a son, these people, these women who think, well, I don't have daughters, or these men, I only have sons. Your son gets a female pregnant.
Yeah.
You're going to be a grandma, grandpa. You're going to take care of it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that they're only 16. Doesn't matter. Or
Well,
are you
let's
going to be
not.
a deadbeat, and not have your
This
kid
is,
pay?
and that's just one facet. Then
Yeah.
there's the incest and the
Yep.
rape
Oh, God.
and the violation of youth or women in
Yep.
general. And you're not
Yep.
allowed to have an abortion and you've got to care. Do you know how fucking traumatic that is? You think that you have mental health problems in the US now? You think you have mental health problems now? As a counselor and as a fucking full-blown psychologist, you better believe that if you voted for Trump and you were on that whole agenda of no abortions, believing in Roe v. Wade, mixing church with state, all of these things, and you force a 12-year-old girl or even a 45-year-old woman to have a baby due to rape or incest, both, you are traumatizing that person and they're now being led down the path of multiple possible different diagnosable mental health issues that
Here's
are
the thing.
dangerous.
They don't want that 12-year-old to be a mom. They want her to have a baby. They don't want her to be a mom because they're pro-birth. They're
I know
not
this is what makes
pro-life.
me so fucking angry, and why it's so limited and why they're so narrow-minded is there was a woman, I will never forget her TikTok, her message when Roe v. Wade was overturned. And she basically got on and said, okay, you want to say and you want to control my body and my rights and my choice and my whatever. She's like, where the fuck were you when I was in foster care?
Yep.
Growing up, because my mother was forced to have me and she couldn't. She was a drug addict. She couldn't care for me. I had to go in the system. So when I was born, where the fuck were you when I was getting sodomized? Where the
Yep.
fuck were you when I was getting raped multiple times in different foster care systems? Where the fuck were you after I was born? Oh, wait, you weren't there. You wanted me here so badly, but then where were you? How come you didn't take care of me? It was the most powerful. I
Mhm.
was bawling watching it and I thought, bang on. And she says, I wish my mother would have had an abortion. Now, my life is different. She's got like 5 kids, really good, very healthy, but her life is so traumatic. She goes, I would have been okay with that. And I'm the one that was forced to be here and lived a life of torment and abuse because where the fuck were you?
Okay,
And I
let's take that in a little bit different direction too. Everybody hates the homeless. Oh my God, the homeless. Oh, these people on the streets. These single moms that can't afford a place to live and childcare and a job because they have to take care of their kid because the dad fucked and ran, because the
Mhm,
dad doesn't have to have any responsibility.
mhm,
According to all of this, the dad can go, but the woman
mhm,
has to take care of it. So you don't want to help with childcare. You don't want to help with food. You don't want to help with any of that. You don't want these people on the system. You don't want them on welfare. You don't want them getting women, infant, children. You don't want them getting food stamps. You don't want them getting any of that. But you
mhm,
want them to have the baby.
mhm. You know what's interesting, and you're saying that, is it's like their faith has completely turned into an illusion and a fantasy. Their
Yeah.
beliefs have completely detached from reality and thinking it's okay, God will take care of it all.
Yeah.
God and Jesus will take. No, they fucking won't if they are even a they. Stop. You are deluding yourself out of fucking reality. You're contributing now to the homeless population. You're contributing to the mental health that the US, like around the world, mental health is a global issue. But you guys don't have gun control, whereas the rest of the fucking world does. So here's the deal. But oh, it's a mental health problem. But you're contributing to the mental health problem because you're forcing 12-year-olds to have babies from their
Yeah.
fathers and their uncles.
And
What
we're
the
gonna
fuck?
cut social services, which includes mental health treatment.
Yeah.
So you are going to be fucked
Yeah.
literally and
Yeah.
figuratively all the way
Figuratively.
around.
And yet you think that you're not going to be taxed? Where is money?
But the
Again, the
price of
money.
eggs are going to go down.
Right. Oh, and the gas is going to go down. No, it's not. You're going to be
No,
tariffed up the ass, and now you're going to be paying per household like 4 grand extra a year. Have fun
you
with that.
know, you know why? One of the reasons why I think the Democrats lost, and I have to be very careful saying this, so I hope I say it correctly. The Republicans, everything was woke, 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 no matter what it was. They're woke. They're woke. It became disgusting, right? But the Democrats, instead of saying this is just human decency and caring, what the Democrats did was every marginalized everything everywhere was kind of shoved down your throat, to be honest.
Yep.
Every commercial has a
Yes.
mixed race. Every
Yes.
commercial has a gay couple. And I'm
And
not
guess
saying
what
that they
people
shouldn't be
struggle with?
represented, but I'm
King.
saying it doesn't have to, every single thing doesn't have to be, what are your pronouns? What are your
No,
pronouns? Because,
no, I agree. This
yeah,
is where I'm more conservative in thinking. I agree. Now, as therapists, I'm going to use a prime example. There's a private school not far from me where there is a child who has identified as a furry and they've allowed them to have a litter box at the school.
is that true? Oh my
It's
God, because Republicans were saying that was happening here and there
okay.
was no evidence of it.
Okay, it's happened. And then there was a
God.
school just up the road from me where a child was claiming to be a furry and they were allowed to bark in class and the teacher couldn't say anything. And I'm like, I'd lose my fucking job.
Well, see,
As a
that
therapist,
wasn't,
it's
they
supposed to
were
be
saying that was
super
happening here and
and
it wasn't.
okay, it's neutral. Okay, neutral. We are living in a world, again, Twilight Zone. Again, as progressive as I am, woke as I am about fucking equality and human rights, I am not of mind to allow or believe or think it's okay where we don't have social construct anymore,
Yeah.
and you're allowing children to identify as fucking animals. Here's the deal. That's not a mental illness. That's attention seeking.
Yes. Yes.
That's
And,
attention seeking. That
and
is
again,
not diagnosable out of the DSM. There is no such thing. Therefore, teachers, society, political realms should not be fucking supporting it. You don't bring a litter box into a school. You certainly don't allow them to identify as a
no.
furry. You are a human being. You are not the species of a feline. The end.
So another thing is, and again, I this might come off the wrong way and I don't mean it to. I am all for trans. I do believe that people they're born with XX or XY and for some reason it got screwed up, whatever, or they have XXY. But why do you have to say everywhere you go, I'm trans, I'm trans, I'm trans, I'm trans? I don't know people like I don't walk around going hetero or cis
But
or
but
whatever.
but Jodi,
So
as a psychologist, yeah.
but wait. This is what I'm saying is here. This is why I think there was a backlash against it because I don't think that trans people on the whole, because I know a lot of gay people, I have a lot of gay friends, and they don't on the whole go gay, by the way, trans. But it was played up so much on social media and by the Democrats of trans, gay, that people were like, fuck, just be you. And I don't want to hear about it anymore. So I think
I
that
don't,
that was part of the backlash.
100%. And
Okay.
also Biden stepping down when he did, he didn't give Kamala a fair
No.
run. She only had 2 months
But
to try to
there's
turn it
nothing
around.
she could have done. It was because
No,
she's a woman.
yeah,
That
well,
is
that too.
why
So
racism
there's so many
and
factors. Racism, fucking
misogyny.
woman, and the sexism and the misogyny. But what you're saying about the trans, okay, gender dysphoria is a mental health diagnosis.
Yes.
You have a mental health condition, trans, great, be you, it's okay. You're right. Nobody's running around being like, hey, I'm cisgender. Hey, I'm cisgender. Hey, people look at me and pretty much know I identify as a cisgender biological woman. I don't need to fucking tell people that. Should
Right.
I be identifying myself as she or her or whatever? Should I have to? No, I don't think I should have to. Am I doing it because it's sort of where we are trying to be progressive. Again, as a therapist, we have to remain very neutral. We're not
Yeah.
allowed to be sharing personal, and this is me turning off my therapist hat right now because
Yeah.
again, it's more of my personal. No, but I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me that much. But I am offended if somebody said, "You mean you chest fed your daughter? You can't say breastfed." No, fuck you. Yes, I can. I identify as a biological woman, and I breastfed my daughter. I have breasts. I'm a woman.
Or what is it called?
A
A
birthing person.
yeah. Like, see, that's where it got too much. It's like,
No,
honestly,
again, that's too progressive
yeah,
because they have gender dysphoria, which is a mental health, and dysphoria means discomfort in oneself where they've got to be whistleblowers. They're constantly
yeah. I
attention
have
rights and they're
zero.
okay. So
I have,
sensitive beyond belief.
I have zero issue with transgender people.
Yeah,
Be
yeah, I don't
you.
either.
Be you. It does not affect me. I want you to be happy. If that means changing your gender, be happy. It has no effect on me.
No, it
But
doesn't.
it was the fact that it was put in everybody's face.
Well, it is, and it is, and it's too much. I don't disagree with that. I'm right along with you.
And
Absolutely.
the
It's
whole
too
thing
much.
about the bathrooms, instead of
No.
saying, we don't. The Republicans, conservatives created this hysteria that never existed. And if you ask any of them, well, have you ever? Has this
Mhm.
ever happened to you? It
Mhm.
never has. But
No.
just like right now, we have a transgender in the House of
Mhm.
Representatives, and she is a she now. So I guess it'd be transgender female.
Mhm.
And they passed a bill where she cannot use the female bathroom. You have to use the bathroom of your biological gender because they don't want males in a dress in the bathroom. So, you know what? I would love to see men who were biologically female go into the bathroom now because that's what they're trying to prevent.
Mhm.
But you want us to go into the bathroom of our birth so that male
Mhm.
has to go into a female's bathroom.
Mhm.
We've had gender neutral bathrooms all over the place, all
Mhm.
the time. It's
Hmm.
nothing new.
No.
But yet the Republicans made it a huge thing. And instead of the Democrats saying, this is bullshit, we have gender neutral bathrooms for 20 years now,
Hmm.
they doubled down and went, well, you need to call them, they, them, or whatever. You know what I mean? Instead of putting them
You
in their
know,
place, they kept.
why do we have women's bathrooms, men's bathroom, gender specific bathrooms is because unfortunately we live in a world where there's evil and
Yeah,
there is corruption and there's people that are dangerous and predators. And that's the only reason why we have to do that.
but it's
It's
not a
really sad.
transgender person isn't in
No,
there to like
no,
if I shouldn't know. If you and I go in the bathroom together, Bree, I don't know what you have in your pants. I shouldn't know what you have in
no,
your pants. If I
no.
know what you have in your pants, I'm doing something illegal because I'm probably looking over the stall to see
Yeah,
what
no,
you.
it's re exactly. It's really disturbing. Like again, this is just where the lines are blurred so much, and this is why conservatives are just like too much change, too much, too much, too much, too much, too much, and it's overwhelming. It takes time to adjust to certain things. It's like again, once upon a time, a being homosexual was considered a mental illness. It's not. And we know it's not. It's just a sexual orientation. But now we've got pedophiles trying to say minor attracted persons because they don't like the stigma that goes with it. And now they're trying to get their own flag, be part of the LGBTQ plus, whatever. Oh, they
No.
are. It's called Prostatia. And this is where again, the progressiveness and the woke, all because they know. Here's the interesting thing about paraphilic disorders or a real pedophile is a real, unless you have antisocial personality disorder to go along with the pedophilia, most pedophiles stay out of people's way because they don't like who they are. It's a mental health problem. It is very much the way your brain is wired. And they are so disgusted with who they are. And they know they do not put themselves in harm's way. They don't put themselves around children because of but now these men or these people are like, well, I'm just a minor attracted person. I can't help it. It's an orientation. No, it fucking isn't.
My son was molested. I worked in prison. I remember we had a meeting one time. We have our treatment team
Mm.
meetings and our committee meetings, and there was an inmate who was a sexual predator, pedophile, and the nurse practitioner, psychiatric nurse practitioner was like, "Oh no, no, it's just a sexual orientation." And I was like, "Don't you fucking say that around me." Mm-mm. It's their proclivities.
No, it isn't.
Are you fucking
You're wrong.
no,
You're
no,
wrong. It's not a
no,
proclivity. It's not their
no,
proclivity. It is a
no.
mental health condition. And if you've acted on it, then you have antisocial traits, if not the disorder to go along with it, because it's inhumane. It is so wrong. And it is not a sexual fucking orientation. And if
No.
we adapt as a society to accept that, we
No.
are putting every child on the planet in danger. And
And
so,
I have worked with too many that there were some that felt remorse, but like I had one on my caseload that couldn't wait to get to the treatment center where they had adversive therapy. So I don't know what they did, but they showed pictures way back when he said of boys and girls, little boys and girls, and it really helped him. Yeah, motherfucker, you're back in prison. It didn't help you at all, and you're not going to go back there to get your jollies off to look at the
mhm,
pictures. So
mhm.
sexual predators, I'm sorry, you can't they they can't be treated. They will not get better. They will not
No.
change their ways.
No, they don't. And it's said that they're not. But it's interesting because again, and repeating sexual abuse and what's happened to you, we could go on, that's totally digressing. But it's again, too woke is a problem. We need to find a happy medium. We need to find balance, okay? Human rights and equality, saving the lives of women and getting proper medical treatment because they have run into a medical issue due to their their pregnancy, their unborn child, their whatever, should never be denied help because of religious fanatics getting into politics and mixing church with state. In Canada, this will not, there's no way that this is ever going to happen. There just isn't. Um, as a country, we're not as divided, right? There's too much common ground and thinking the same. versus the splitting in the US where but this is what Trump wants. He
You know
wants
why?
he wants the division.
You know why we have Trump?
Mhm.
We have Trump because we had the audacity of having a black president, not once, but twice in a row,
Mhm.
who did a great job.
Mhm.
How dare? How
Mhm.
dare? So all the racists
It's so sad. How are we
went
still?
the
We've
other
learned
way.
nothing.
Trump fed on it. He fed
Mhm.
on the racism and everything. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of people, I really do feel this way. And I was trying to figure out for the people who voted Trump because they, back in 2016, I don't want to believe that they're inherently bad. I want to believe that people are inherently good
Me
when they're
too.
born. And I think what happened in 2016 that carried over to now is that the people that became Trumpers were those same, yes, there were evil, awful people, the Proud Boys, all of that. But I think the regular everyday people that we know that suddenly became Trumpers, those were the people that I'm not going to do anything bad. I don't speed on the freeway, but oh my gosh, that person, all these people are going 85, so I'm going to go 85.
Mhm.
It's like I'm not going to go 85 on my own, but
Sheep.
I'm going to do it with a group.
Sheep.
I'm not going to run this red light. It might be broken. I don't know. I'm not going to run it. I'm going to sit here. Oh, everybody else is running it. Now I'm going to run it. You know what I mean? It's like they didn't set out to be rule breakers, if that makes sense.
No,
But
but what is
because it was okay to do it,
Mhm.
oh, like if you're at the grocery store and they're giving out something and it was ringing up as 00, and you're like, well, I wouldn't steal it, but sure, I'll take a bunch of them if they're going to ring up for 00 or for 5 cents or whatever. Yeah, let's put a bunch in our cart.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It doesn't,
Yeah,
it starts out small like that
and
and
it
gets
snowballs.
bigger and bigger and bigger and
Bigger
bigger.
and bigger and bigger. And it's interesting because I remember watching this I guess thing like years ago about the bankers, right? The Rockefellers, the oh, I can't think of all the names right now. But and Jekyll Island and Woodrow Wilson and signing in and letting these bankers take over and you know eh, and the whole philosophy around that and the thoughts around that. It was really interesting, but they talked a lot about what is the US based on? What is the underlying thing that most Americans have in like it's ingrained in their DNA, and that is fear.
Oh, I thought you were going to say selfishness because damn, were we
Well,
selfish.
well, but that's what leads to the
Yeah,
narcissism and this and it's the
xenophobia.
fear. It's the fear that feeds the hate.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
the hate
100%.
just
That's what
gets
xenophobia is.
exactly. And what's so sad is that again, when you think of, the Beatles and John Lennon singing "Give Peace a Chance" or "All You Need Is Love," all you need it was like there's people that think he was like the second coming of Jesus. He just was such a selfless and just had the right message, and that was back in the 60s. And you think you're moving towards more world peace and more love and more trust and more goodness within mankind. But then you get a person or a group of people that brainwash everyone into fear mongering so much, and what is already predisposed, again, of being different and looking different, fearing black versus, and then the racism. We've learned nothing as a human race after World War II. How the fuck are we back here? Because that's where it all starts. And the hatred breeds, it's like poison, and it's so cultish. And it is so sad that we have this much hate since the election. The amount of it's like permissible hate now. People are allowed
Well,
to
yeah,
yell
because
from
it's
the
like
rooftops their misogyny and their racism and
I
that like go back to the fucking fields and pick cotton. Like
oh,
what
I
the fuck?
right after the election, the next day, November 6th, my son sent me something on TikTok and I scrolled after watching it and there was a live. And I don't know who the people were, to be honest with you. It was a white guy, Democrat, white guy was just kind of kicking back, probably late 20s, early 30s, and a black woman in the corner as a guest. And then a Trump supporter, of course, he didn't come on. It was like not a face because they don't show their face because you can't
No.
spew hate if your face is out there. So you
Yeah.
notice they always cover their face.
Yeah.
But he had said something, the Trump supporter was saying something to the effect of, oh, look at you libs all crying, plotting on how to take the election back. And the guy's like, yeah, okay, that's what we're doing right here. And the black lady goes, can I take this one for a second? And the guy's like, sure. And I can't remember verbatim what he said, the Trump supporter, but it was something to the effect of, sit down and shut up, you black bitch. And I was like, whoa. And she laughed uncomfortably and said, wow, starting already.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing is like these people, one, show your fucking face. Don't cover it if you're going to do that.
They're
But
cowards.
two,
But that's again, they're cowards and they're
yes.
fearful and they
And
are
it's
pathetic.
and this is what is so sad because a lot of these people, yes, they were just waiting for the moment
They were.
that they could say. But a lot of them were like, I would never say that. Oh, wait, we can? Oh, okay, I'll say it.
Mm-hmm.
As long
Well,
as
we're
it's
just now
okay.
saying because we're allowed to say what everybody wants to say. No, not everybody wants to say that. And here's the deal. There was another woman who got on and she's like, I'm waiting in my car right now for a Walmart employee to come out. So she makes it to her car safely after her shift because I just witnessed in the self-checkouts as I'm going along. This woman comes up and she's closing them all down. And she says, it's okay, honey, take your time. And the woman's like, okay. She's like, are you okay? She goes, no, I'm just not going to take any more abuse from people. I'm just going to shut these down. And she goes, what happened? And she's like, oh, this woman over here, um, I guess I didn't move fast enough to come assist her. And she's like, get over here, you fucking black bitch. And then she's like, or you know what? You're just like, you're going to be sent back to the fields where you fucking belong. Yeah, you heard me. And I was just like, I'm just sitting there going, yep, since Trump got in, it's like now there's just free reign to actually be so horrifically verbally racist. We are
Yeah.
going backwards. Do you remember Oprah when she first came out in the 80s and she had a lot of those real, Confederation flag down deep South that were super racist with blacks? And it's still segregated to
Yeah.
this day, but they
Yeah.
were so openly about it. And you were still kind of like, whoa, they're saying this, but it was tolerable, right? They were really having a hard time getting away from the fact that that was so wrong. And I remember watching it, and then they came back months later on a different show, and they're like, "We've really evolved and changed. We're really sorry for
Mhm.
spewing that kind of hate, and we don't see you as different than any, right? That their ignorance, like they had woke, they had figured it out. We've gone backwards."
And it's really, really sad because again, part of it is shoving it down people's throats of the pendulum's over here. Now we're going to put it way over here. And hopefully after Trump, it'll go back to the middle where it was
Yeah, where it needs to
because
be. Yeah,
people don't want either one. Oklahoma's putting the Bible in every single school.
disgusting. I can't.
Now, let me
Yeah.
tell you, Oklahoma rates number 49 out of 50 in education in the United
Mhm.
States. And guess
Interesting.
what their state vegetable is? A watermelon. So
Seriously.
put them Bibles in them schools because
Mhm.
apparently you guys are idiots. I mean, if you're
They
number
are.
49 and a fruit is your state vegetable, the Bible is really going to do you well.
But this is what is so interesting, and this is where speaking on sort of a global term here because I'm not American, is that aren't you fucking embarrassed on how ignorant and 90% illiterate? Again, you've labeled your state vegetable as a fucking fruit. You don't know the difference. How uneducated. And now here's the thing. It's not their fault. The lack, again, it's if you look at the curriculum of the US, they study nothing but US history. There is not a lot of global education or geography around the world. Whereas a Canadian, we learned about all countries and we're a Commonwealth country and our queen is more of our, but she doesn't have, or now king doesn't have a say in but the government sort of has to answer to the crown first because we're Commonwealth, right? We don't, but again, they don't dictate and make laws and do any of these things. They kind of present but they oversee everything. At least they used to control it. They don't anymore. Again, our structure is a little bit different, but how? If you literally have an entire state naming their vegetable, but it's actually a fruit, don't you think you need to go back and change your fucking curriculum or make education mandatory if people don't even know the
Okay, Texas, I think it's Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong, people, but I think it's Texas that said the Holocaust, it needs to be taught from both sides. There is no both sides. There is no
no.
fucking both sides. Like you say that the woke is woke, that the left is woke, but you want both sides of the fucking Holocaust?
Again, or the ones that say it's a hoax, like Nick Fuentes says the
It never
Holocaust.
happened. Yep.
It never happened. Now, I had a guy on 9/11 and all the planes were grounded in Vancouver and I was serving, I was 21. And I was serving that day and I couldn't believe people were eating out and there was these people celebrating a birthday. And it felt so strange to walk up to a table to ask them how they are because the whole world was just in shambles and heartbroken as we watched the screens, people falling out of buildings. So I said to the people, and I'm like, well, it feels strange asking how you are today or this evening and whatever. And the guy looks at me and he goes, oh God, fuck, it's just a hoax, just like the Holocaust.
I hate to say this, but there are some people, politicians right now on the right, that
Mhm.
think that as well.
I know. So I turned around and I looked at my manager and I'm like, somebody needs to take that table. I can't serve them. I will not serve them. I I have no tolerance, no patience, and a very firm boundary, even at 21, where there was absolutely, I was not engaging with a human being that I could actually say something so absurd and insane and absolutely disturbing. Disturbing is the word. We've learned nothing. There's no two sides to the Holocaust. There's a movie I just watched, and I forget what it's called, and it's actually done. It's not done in English. You have to read this. You have to read the subtitles. It's done in German. And I'll get the name of it. I forget what it's called now. It's I want to say something next door, but it's not. It's about what the hell is his name? Rudolph he was the one that ran Auschwitz.
I,
I forget what's
I,
that?
Eichmann?
Nope. No, it'll come to me in a second. But he was the one that ran Auschwitz. He was one of Hitler's and uh Himmler's right-hand man with the Nazis. And his wife and his children had their dream house right next door to the concentration camp. Right on the other side was the wall to the concentration camp, their gardens. And the movie is done so well because it's like their quiet little world, but in the distance you hear the screaming.
Rudolph
And you
Hoss. Hoss. Hoss.
Yes, Rudolph Haas. Thank you. And it's I don't know, Jodes, if you can watch it, if you can stomach it, but it's haunting. Now, here's the thing. As a Democrat, as a psychologist, as a Jewish woman, and a proud one, okay, and anybody that has half a brain will watch this and be disturbed. But to those who actually went against humanity and went based on choosing policy over humanity and politics over humanity, would you even be able to grasp the depth of what that movie is about and what it's saying?
We're getting to the end, so I'm going to end it on this one, and we definitely will continue talking about this because sadly, unfortunately, there's still so much left to say. But I want
So
to end it on this. One of the things that was going around after the election was now I know which of my friends would never hide me.
wow.
And to me, it's not just would hide me, it's who would point me out.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a difference. Okay, I know people, I was thinking about this a lot once I saw that of now I know who wouldn't hide me. It's like, okay, I can understand people not necessarily hiding you, but this is even worse that they would over there, over
Mm-hmm.
there, instead of just like, don't know, have no idea. They would be pointing you out.
Mhm.
They would be throwing, because that's what they did to women. That's what all
Mhm.
these women did to women. That's what all
Mhm.
these Gen Zs did to women, and they don't care. And so it's really, really sad. And we will talk about this more because it's hard to make sense of this fucking toxic nonsense. And
Yeah,
we
that you can't, you almost can't, you can't make sense of it. Again, this
don't.
goes to almost like so much personality disordered shit going on with the
Yes.
people and this, and then the world and where we're at and this, and the democracy, if there even is one now, like you'll never have to vote again, all this shit. And the harsher that Trump gets, the guy was giving head to a fucking microphone and he literally wins an election.
Yes.
How?
And for all of the women, and this is, we can talk about this one next too, that are still having PTSD symptoms, that are still upset because they've been in a narcissistic relationship, they've been sexually assaulted. And
Mhm.
now it's like, here is someone who
Well,
is a narcissist,
helpless,
who is this,
hopeless.
yes,
Yeah, the helplessness and
out of control.
hopelessness of
Yeah.
it's just out of control, and there's nothing that anybody can do, and you're now watching your loved ones die because they can't get medical treatment. Like again, we're going back in time. So
Um, when hopefully, and this will hopefully happen soon, when you get an Elon Musk and a Trump together, only one will come out. They
yeah.
will not last long together.
No, they won't. Elon even said Trump had to win or he's going to jail. There's something I like, and here's the biggest question for the rest of the world that we're all sitting waiting and we're like, who's going to be the next person to attempt to assassinate Trump?
I don't want the FBI at my house. I'm not going to say a word. I'm not
Well,
going to do anything, but I
as a
want
kid,
the
well, no,
FBI.
but the whole
Yeah,
world, again, it's the
yes,
unspoken. It's the things that they're all spewing this hate and this racism, misogyny, and all the things. The rest of the world is sitting back going, I wonder if it's going to try, if somebody's going to try to attempt it again, how long it's going to take, if it at all, like, I mean, nobody knows the answer to that. But look at
right.
Putin. You speak
Yep.
out against your political leader, you just disappear.
Fall out a window
Fall
somehow.
out of
We
windows.
all fall out windows.
Magically, you just fall out of windows. Ballerina spoke out against, but like whatever, fell out a window. Interesting, hey?
Doctors, a lot of doctors and nurses have fallen out of hospital windows.
A
Like
guy
they must
that
not
was
make those hospital windows very
the
good.
doping doctor of the Olympics back in the day had to move to the US to go into hiding from Putin.
Yeah, because yeah,
So
everyone close to him out the window.
again, you don't,
So
scary stuff. But yeah, we've got lots we can talk about. So
we do. So thank you guys so much. It's been too long. We can't
I
go
know,
this long because we
I
have
know,
so
honey,
much
I
to
know.
say.
We
Uh,
have something to say. Yeah.
like, follow, subscribe, comment, please. I can't imagine people be kind. We can have civil discourse. You can disagree with us. I would love to know in a logical, rational discourse of why you disagree with us. I don't want the, oh, it's Trump derangement syndrome, which is the answer to
So,
so many things when you don't
well,
side with them.
conflict resolution as therapists, right? What do we work on? Validating both sides, but
I'm very
validating and
nice.
but you have to understand. And here's the thing, it's not so much opinion versus opinion. Well, you have your opinion, I have my opinion.
I
When
want
it
that.
comes to blatant hatred,
Yeah.
illegal, felony, rapist,
Yeah.
against what, like, it's just, again, this is all such heinous behavior.
Well, how many people have said he is not a felon? He was never sentenced. Have you heard that yet? Oh
No.
my God. Trump supporters are like, he's not a felon. He was never sentenced. He was not a felon. He's not a
Do
felon.
you see the delusion? Like, look at narcissistic personality disorder in Trump. Delusional beyond, but like he's so word salad speaks in circles. They're eating the dogs. They're eating, like I can't even. It's like an alien
He
is
is a
like
textbook. He is the when they
he
teach
was. It's
narcissism in
like
school,
yep,
narcissistic personality disorder, he should
yeah.
be the
He
case
is
study.
full on cluster B
Yeah.
milkshake. That guy
So
and
please, sorry.
comment.
Yes,
Nope.
comment, ask questions. I would love to know your thinking
Yeah.
without name calling. Like I had
Yes.
someone say, "Oh, you're just a moron." I'm like, "Oh, now, okay, thank you."
But
That's
again, look at but look at where it's coming from. Like as
oh,
we know, right? We know. But again, people, like if you think like if you can explain
I
other
don't
than policy and what you think, then
want
just
to know.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can have a civil discourse, and I'm going to be a little
Mhm.
snooty here. If you need to look up the word discourse, Please look it up.
Mhm.
You can have a civil discourse. I would love to know if you are not a racist, misogynist, homophobic, xenophobic, all of that, if you can explain to me why.
Mhm.
We would love to know.
And why you chose policy over humanity. Just help us understand why.
Yeah.
Well, that's all we
And
want.
if you can say it without using the words Biden, Harris, Trump derangement syndrome.
Because that's not that's again, you're deflecting. That's a deflection just to the point, right?
Please.
Yes.
So until then,
Yes. Have a good night, everyone.
take care. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.